You're watching The Roach on Florida TV.
So let's talk about Carole Baskin. You know, everyone is obsessed with her now. You know, back when we did this story there in, the year 2000, that was not new news around the Tampa Bay area about Carole Baskin and her husband, Don. If you haven't watched the TV series on Netflix, check it out. You'll learn more about this. But the short story of this is her husband, Don, age 60 at the time, 1997, suddenly disappeared, vanished. They found his van, I think, at a small airport. That was not so strange because he was a pilot. He did, and I think even her did a lot of trips to Costa Rica. And so it was not that unusual for them to, him to be flying. Now they found the van at the airport, Don disappeared and never to be found with a trace. And the story, if you watch The Tiger King, is, and again, this is nothing new. People, are accusing her of allegedly killing her husband. She fed him to the tigers. And we knew this even when we went there. That was not, it was in the newspaper, it was in the St. Pete Times, it was in the Tampa Tribune. So this was a rumor that was floating around even back then.
Yeah.
And so it was, it's one of those things that is now lingering over this place, Big Cat Rescue, and you don't know what to make of it. And I know we had talked about this before. It's easy to say, oh, she killed her husband, but you got to be fair about this. He's not been found. Nobody knows where he's at. Yeah, it is unusual that he just disappeared, but we were talking, amongst ourselves at one point saying, I don't know what my neighbors do. I don't know if they're burying bodies, I mean, if someone's husband or wife disappeared, it doesn't mean somebody, I mean, I know, everyone goes immediately to the closest person to that person.
Right.
I get that. And according to the story, that Don was furious with her. He wanted to get away from her. She says they never had any arguments before his disappearance, a big argument. And then the whole other big issue, and you'll see in the story of Tiger King, that they put in his will a power of attorney. And while attorneys will tell you that's a little bit unusual if it's based on disappearance, she says the reason they did that was because flying to Costa Rica, people disappear in Costa Rica quite often. So she has stated that that's the reason she put it in the will. She admits it's probably not in every will, but that's the stickler part. So that power of attorney gave her, when he disappeared, gave her the sanctuary, and I would assume most of, or at least part of Don's money,
Right.
He was supposedly a well-off guy, did well for himself, and that's what enabled her to afford the sanctuary and to keep Big Cat Rescue going.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird story, and it's I don't know what I feel about it, you know. It is interesting, and people always do look at the ones closest to them of, who's, when someone goes missing. But, and they weren't getting along that well. I think he was looking to get a divorce possibly. And, but I don't want to say someone did something and they did, so it's just... Anyways, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd like to think he's drinking a margarita in Costa Rica or something.
I don't think that. I don't think he's with us anymore. But I mean, there's no way to possibly know the truth unless somebody comes forward. And many people think she fed him to the tigers. That's the big story as you watch Tiger King.
Well, it does make a good story.
It is a good story. I don't know. I mean, that seems like a I don't know, a tedious process to chop me up and feed me to some lions, but I don't know. I don't know. I just can't imagine someone doing that, but that said, who knows, right?
Right.
Did you see that, I don't know if you saw a while back that OJ commented about it? Did you see that?
I did.
It's funny about OJ is that I'm really, I think everyone's just tired of, what bothered me about it was not him, what bothered me about it was him, I don't even understand why he's talking to the media after what he's been through. That's what was so weird to me. If I was OJ, I would go live in Costa Rica and hide and just go live my life and enjoy something. And he just continues to, he made a comment that, basically saying, Carole Baskin did this, and it's obvious, and it's just weird coming from him.
Yeah. Well, one thing in this you could truly see throughout is how much people like attention and how much they like the media and they like being in the spotlight. And OJ's just another one of those people that he spent almost his whole life in the spotlight. And so now it's like, oh, great, I want to get back in, and make comments.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know. Sometimes it reminds me of Trump. He can't stop talking, and just stop talking. Yeah. OJ, just go enjoy your life. You served your time. Right or wrong, what people think, just be quiet. Don't get involved in the Tiger King issue, because they're going to drag you in soon, and we're going to find out you were involved in it. So I don't know. I just thought it was weird that he was talking
comments,
about it. Yeah. So what's your thought on this series? You and I have been, and I guess myself a little bit more than you. We have been to a lot of animal sanctuaries in our lifetime. What's just your viewpoint of the series? What did you think of it after you got done with the 6-7 episodes?
I think I loved the series, and I think it was extremely well done and well produced. And since we were also in the production business, I love the way that they put it together.
Yeah, I agree.
And I thought they did a great job. For a person that loves animals so much, it opened up my eyes to certain things that I've not really thought of before, and I loved that side of it. I also found it very sad at other times, just the way zoos are run, and just there's so much work and energy and money that has to go into it, and that the animals have to be the top priority. And I think it's sad sometimes when people might not have the finances. Like I guess what I'm talking about is it broke my heart when Joe did not have that much money, and his animals were the ones suffering from it because they did not have the proper food to give to them, or at least that's the way I interpreted it in the show. That just really bothered me. And also a couple times it was portrayed that that they killed the animals for financial reasons, and that really bothered me too. So
yeah, and I do know this from firsthand experience, is that these animal sanctuaries across the country, across the world, it is hard to keep them going. It is week to week, day to day, year to year, and many of them have to try to raise money throughout their communities, get donations, and it is very, very difficult. And I think what Joe Exotic figured out is, hey, I know what people want to do. They want to take pictures with these things. And that was, I think, his golden goose. He started learning that, hey, people will come, they get to pet a tiger, they get to play with a baby tiger, and then take a picture, and they go home. And I can understand anyone for going to do it. I get it. I mean, who doesn't want to say they got to play with a tiger when you're a little kid or even a grown-up? But I think that was the kiss of his death, because, the problem with that, I think they only said they've maybe got like 4 to 5 months or whatever as a tiger that you can play with in a in a setting with strangers, and then after that, what do you do with this tiger? And that's, of course, what Carole Baskin's issue is, and that's what she's so pissed about is, guess where that tiger's going to end up? You know, they're not going to be able to take care of it. They're going to sell it to a zoo. It's going to be locked up, or it's going to go to some sanctuary if they're lucky, or they're going to have to kill it. You know, they're going to have to get rid of it. So, yeah, I think that was, you know, and then he was probably making some good money doing it. Finally, probably, you know, getting his head above water, you know, and the same thing with the guy in Myrtle Beach, you know, that sanctuary. And I think both of them had been able to, you know, build a decent life, you know, but in the end, it's not good for the animals. It's not good for the place, and you know, it's not fair.
Yeah.
No more Roach on Florida TV.